Hello, and welcome to our first episode of Certified Code Learn. In the first episode, we'll be covering all of the Velo input elements, and you will learn how to connect the Velo input elements to your Wix data without any dataset elements. Before we start, we'll create a collection called data, and then go back to the code editor and enter import Wix data from Wix data. With this, we can insert data into the collection. For the collection ID, you can check it through the database panel, Data, Edit Settings. Make sure you copy the collection ID instead of the collection name. Then, we'll provide an object, where it is the item data. Okay, let's get started. The first element is the input element. Name, and select input 1. Value. So, that is how we can select the text element value. The first element will be input. Let's call the field ID as input. Then, we can select input 1, and select its value. Then, we can select the text box. We'll name this field as text box. Select the element ID, text box 1, and enter a value. Next, we have a rich text box. For the rich text box, let's name it as rich text box in the field ID. Then, we will select the element rich text box 1, and its value. Next, that will be our radio buttons. For the radio button, let's name the field name as radio buttons, and select radio group 1, and its value. Then, that will be the multiple choice. For multiple choice, we'll create a field ID called multiple choice. And then, we'll select checkbox group 1, and its value. Next, that will be our checkbox. For the checkbox, let's name the field as checkbox, and select checkbox 2, value. Next, that will be our dropdown. For the dropdown, let's name the field ID as dropdown, and then select the element ID by dropdown 1, and its value. Next, we'll select selection tags. We'll create selection tags as our field ID. And then, we select selection tags 1, and its value. Next, that will be our date input. We'll be creating a field ID called date input, and select the element, date picker 1, value. Next, we'll be creating a field ID called time input, and select time picker 1, value. Next, that will be our slider. We will select slider 1, value. Next, that will be our range slider. We will select range slider 1, value. Then we'll create a new field called upload button. We'll be selecting upload button 2 and its value. Next, we will be creating a field called rating input, and select the ratings input 3, value. Next, that will be our address input. For address input, let's create a field called address input 1, value. For the switch, we will be creating a new field called switch, and select switch element 3, value. Next, we'll create a field called signature input, and select the signature input 2, value. So, that is how we can work with all the fields here. But there is something additional for the upload button. When you are getting the value from the upload button too, you will only receive the file's name, size, and some metadata. If you want to get the source file, like the actual file the user uploaded, you will need to do the following changes before you insert into the Wix data. We'll be going into the upload button too. Upload files. With this upload file function, you can first get the files uploaded to the Wix backend, and you will get a variable called upload files. With the upload files, you will know the file URL of each of these files. As we want to group them together, we will be using a map function, and only return the file URL as an array. So finally, the files will be in an array. So, this value will be an array, as we only receive the files after this is uploaded. So our insert operation will be done after it is uploaded. And then we'll be replacing the upload button value with the uploaded files. Then, the last one is our reCAPTCHA. For the reCAPTCHA, that is a verification before the user submits everything. Here we'll be selecting CAPTCHA 1 on verified. When it is verified, we'll be doing the upload file action, and then insert the data. What we can do is to move all the functions, including upload files and insert data, inside the onVerified. So, only when we have successfully verified the user, the files will be uploaded. So, you can look into the Wix data and see if it is successfully stored on your end. So now you can see, there is selection tags. If you want to confirm it as a field, you can select tags. For the switch, it is a true-false value, where you can choose Boolean. For the rating input, because there's a number, you can enter number. For text box, obviously text. For the rich text, you can select rich text. For the radio button, it is selecting an option, so that will be text. For slider, that will be a number. For address input, you can choose address. For multiple choice, you can select tags. For checkbox, select Boolean, then range slider, since it is maximum and minimum, so we'll be using array. For dropdown, you can still choose text. For the signature input, you can choose document or image. For image, you can see its signature. For the date input, you can choose date and time. For the time element, you can choose time. For the upload button, you can choose multi-document. For the input, you can choose text input. So, that is how you can set up your Wix data with input elements, without any datasets. Thanks for watching this episode of Certified Code Learn. To get the newest insights related to Velo, Editor X, and Wix, subscribe this channel so you will be the first to receive our next episode.